Hello, it's me, Gage, and I'm here to talk about something that I was requested to talk about by a friend called Lucas Green. He asked me to make a video on what I think, or if I could, what Injustice 3 story and roster would be. So I'm gonna cut this thing into two videos, one for the story and one for the roster. So for this one, I'm just gonna talk about the story and my ideas. Now, for Injustice 3, I would actually make it, and I do think it would be about Blackest Night. The reason why I would want it to be Blackest Night is because Blackest Night was a pretty major comic thing that happened. I forget when it happened, but it was a really big thing when it came out. And a lot of people really loved the series and what it did to some characters. And then we got to see old characters return for a short while, even if they were just as Black Lanterns. Now, quickly I'm going to go over why I think Injustice 3 will also be based around Blackest Night. One main reason is because NetherRealm knows people like Blackest Night, because in Injustice 1, we got a DLC skin pack for Blackest Night characters, being Superman, Batman, Doomsday, Flash, Aquaman, and a few other characters that I can't name right off the top of my head right now. But they know people like that storyline, and people did buy these skins. And Atrocitus, here's my main reason why I think Injustice 3 will have the Black Lanterns and be focused around the Blackest Night storyline. And that is Atrocitus in Injustice 2. In a few intros, he actually mentions and talks about Blackest Night, which Atrocitus was also a pretty big part of in Blackest Night. He was actually going to try to stop it until some Green Lanterns stopped him, thinking he was up to no good. So, since he mentions it a few times, I actually think this will be what's going to happen. And Ed Boon actually, I believe, said that if people wanted a Blackest Night storyline, they would have to wait for the third game. So that's also another thing why I think it will be based around Blackest Night. Now let's go over my story ideas. Now to start off the story, I think it should pretty much happen the same as Blackest Night did, the Black Lantern being made with the battery and then all the rings appearing and being scattered across the universe. Pretty much how it happened in the actual comic. And then we go to Earth where a big fight's happening. Now, I forget what actually happened with Batman in Blackest Night. I don't know if he actually died, or it was something going on with the Black Hand. I don't know. But for right now, let's just say Batman dies in a big battle, and Black Hand uses this to his advantage to get the Black Lantern rings to invade Earth. And this is kind of how everything starts. And with Batman being turned into a Black Lantern, of course, I feel like this fight should happen somewhere a third into the actual story. I feel like it should start off like Injustice 2 did, with another group of villains forming, the Insurgency fighting them, and all that, but then Batman dies or something happens with him, and thus the Black Lanterns start to appear on Earth because of this. They start to thrive on people's emotions. In this way, we could actually see returning characters that have been killed off in the Injustice comics, or in other ways of past versions of characters that we didn't get to see yet into this series. And a way to introduce a far more characters, because Blackest Night was a pretty big arc and had a lot of characters in it. In fact, 3 issues of Blackest Night introduced me to so many characters I never knew happened to exist. So, with Blackest Night starting like that, with the fight about a third way into the story, after another villain team, let's just make it a mixed match of a bunch of other villains. Then Blackest Night starts to kick off, and this is where things really start to heat up. We start to meet Nekron, the Black Lantern guy with the scythe. Now, I don't know much on Blackest Night because I couldn't read the whole arc. I can only read a few books of it. But I do know some things, but not much. So we get introduced to Necron, Black Hand, and Anti-Monitor. So things keep going. I would like there to be a total of 30 chapters, that way we can get a ton of story into this game. Maybe not overly long cutscenes, probably around 5 minutes each. And pretty good fights, this way we could have a pretty long story mode and get most of this story some justice. Okay, so with that, now currently I have no idea who these story arcs would be. I'll have to look more into Blackest Night, and maybe during the roster section of the video I'll put a number with what chapter each character gets and what I feel like they could do. But for right now, let's discuss some deaths. Being that this would be another Realm game and from the Injustice universe, being Injustice 3, now this is more or less just a wish thing. Remember, this is just a wishful video. But I do think Blackest Night will happen in the next game, just because of some things we've been hearing. But they could easily just not happen. But again, it's just a wishful video. But some deaths I thought of would, one, possibly be Killer Croc, just as a random character to kill. Because Injustice always seems to kill at least one offhand character that no one really cares much about, or if they do, it's not into a vast majority, and Killer Croc definitely falls into that category. Especially if they get cocky and they just get killed that way. Like Gorilla Grodd got killed by Aquaman, spoilers. So maybe Killer Croc would be killed by some Black Lanterns because he gets cocky and he gets overwhelmed. Others, I actually have no idea. Maybe Power Girl could die. Maybe someone else. I would say at least one major character that people like would have to die as well. So thinking of someone that a lot of fans like that would be introduced just to die would be interesting. Because Dr. Fate also died and a lot of fans love him. So maybe Power Girl gets killed by a Black Lantern or something. Even though I don't think she died in Blackest Night, this is NetherRealm, they'll do odd things at times with characters. But I would say the story mode should be at least 12 hours long, a very long game filled with a lot of stuff. Oh, and one more death that could happen would be Harley Quinn. We know she has a daughter, so what if, now hear me out on this, she goes to save her daughter from the Black Lanterns during all this battle happening, and once she gets there, she is met with a Black Lantern Joker. So, upon seeing that, she fights him and decapitates him and hugs. So she decapitates him and then she hugs her daughter, but then Joker gets up and stabs her through the heart, through her back, killing Harley Quinn and also turning her into a Black Lantern. This could really pull at people's heartstrings because a lot of people right now love Harley Quinn. The fact that she is being a hero and trying to be a loving mother at the same time really make people like her currently in this universe. So that could really help with this case. So that's pretty much all in deaths. The story is a bit odd, but there would probably have to be something else going on with a Batman story arc. During this, maybe, like I said, Batman probably didn't die and something happened. So maybe a small group is out looking for him while most are just trying to fight for survival. Maybe the original villain teams are going to probably have to team up with the regime, the insurgency, and all form together like in Injustice 2, one big team so they all can survive. Now, most deaths would probably happen around the middle mark where the Black Lanterns are really starting to appear, but no one really knows how to handle them yet. Then comes later, Batman comes into play, but then Black Lantern Justice League appears, which probably would be pretty cool to see. Now, how this would happen, I don't know. Maybe another universe gets involved where the rings go through some type of portal, get a bunch of dead hero versions, and pull over to this universe, into the Injustice universe, and that's how this Justice League becomes the Black Lanterns to fight. Again, I don't know much on Blackest Night, so I don't know how they became Black Lanterns. But, heck. Now, let's finally get into who the main villain would be, and who would be the final boss. Black Hand did have a huge part in Blackest Night. He was one of the main antagonists, I believe. Another great one, which would definitely be included in the game, would be Necron, the guy with the scythe. This guy would be probably the main boss, or they could do a Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and make Anti-Monitor the final boss, where you fight a giant villain. Kind of like how you fought Galactus, but maybe on a different scale. I'm not really sure how this would work with NetherRealm's fighting, but I'm sure they could make it work. Now, another reason this could happen with some of the... Sorry if I'm a bit over the place, I'm kind of saying this without a script. But one more thing about this video. Now, let's go over some of the chapters and what I would like from some characters. I want multiple characters to get lantern powers. In Blackest Night, a few people were picked to be lanterns. Scarecrow was picked to be a yellow lantern. Diana was picked to be a pink or indigo lantern for love. Lex became an orange lantern for greed. Mira a red lantern, Flash a blue lantern, and I don't know who that other guy is. But now, Injustice is different from the main DC universe. Now, I don't know if Wonder Woman killed Scarecrow in Injustice 2. I doubt it, because they would have probably shown it if she did kill him. All we saw him was sitting in a small puddle of blood, but still conscious. But we still don't know if he got out of Metropolis, but still. We'll just say he's still alive, so he becomes a Yellow Lantern. Now, one interesting thing is Lex is dead. Lex died by the hands of Superman, but in Blackest Night, he stole Scarecrow's yellow ring. So, without him around to steal the ring, I'm going to say we actually leave Scarecrow as a Yellow Lantern and see what happens. Now let's actually swap two lantern colors. Diana is not nearly as loving as the DC Universe that happened with Blackest Night. Because in that storyline, she was in love with Bruce. Here, she's in love with Superman, who's evil. So let's actually swap her ring being indigo, or pink, with Mira being a red lantern. And make Mira, Aquaman's wife, being a indigo lantern, or pink. Let's just say pink. And Wonder Woman becoming the red lantern. We keep Flash as a blue lantern. And this way we actually get to meet Salabar and a bunch of other characters. Now, one way this story would be great is because NetherRealm could do so many things with this. They have killed so many characters that weren't Black Lanterns in Injustice, in Blackest Night. Sorry if I take breaths, it's hot in here. But in Injustice 1, they had the Doomsday skin, which made him a Black Lantern. But I actually don't think, from anything I found, that Doomsday actually became a Black Lantern. So this, they probably just made up on the spot for the game. So NetherRealm could easily do this with many other characters and allow to bring back many others for different parts, and actually be able to give a lot more characters a lot more development. Say like Firestorm, Blue Beetle, and a bunch of others. While we also get to still have the douchebag Superman still being around, but this could easily happen, but I don't know how that would fit into the story. More or less, they might just need him. But this video's got to end real soon, so let me know what you think. Give me some ideas for some chapters and some story arcs with these characters in the game. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Make sure to like and subscribe, and the next part will be the roster of 40 characters.